We are here in Duluth, Georgia. My man moved to Atlanta how many years ago?
Probably been close to now, almost 30 years.
My man's been in Atlanta for 30 years, so he moved from one capital A to the other capital A.
And it was confusing me in the beginning because it was like hearing people say A-Town, A-Town, A-Town. And I'm like, I'm not in Austin.
Yeah. A-Town is A-Town. All right, so let's talk about some of your roots in Austin. What part of Austin are you from?
Originally from North Side Austin. North Lamar, Runberg area. Lived there almost all my life.
5'8"?
Yeah, 5'8", 7'8", 5'8".
That's right.
Then moved briefly off of, Springdale Road.
2-3?
2-3, stayed there for quite some time. Just moved in between 2-3 and 7-8 for quite some time. I mean, you know, it's all Austin as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so when did you initially start in hip hop in Austin?
You know, that's hard to say because when I started and when I was inspired would probably be two different things.
Okay, so who inspired you to start with hip hop?
I remember we used to live off of Runberg Boulevard and we used to ride and sell candy out of a truck. And Herbie Hancock's Rocket came on. And everybody in that truck was trying to figure out how they was making that sound. I mean, we in the back of the truck, we young dudes. We got on the members only jackets.
We old school.
And we in there zipping them up and down like this. Yeah. When we zipping them up and down, making that sound, we thinking that this is how this is done. Mm-hmm. We didn't know.
Wait.
Yeah.
You thought that the zipping of your jacket was scratching?
Was scratching.
Oh my God, this is early hip hop.
This is early, so, and we couldn't figure out what it was until the video came out about 6 months later. Mm-hmm. And we saw the record jumping and the robots and all this stuff. But we said I still didn't put two and two together. I really didn't put two and two together until we moved to St. John's, and it was the very beginning of MTV. Okay. Very beginning of MTV, and a video comes on with a white girl with blonde hair.
Blondie.
Yes, it was Rap Show.
Fab Five Freddy said everybody's fly.
So once I saw that, I almost linked the two together, but I was more interested in the graffiti. That was what I was more interested in. I wasn't even interested in the music at the time. I was interested in the graffiti. So immediately, after seeing this video a couple times, I walked to North Lamar with a big ass duffel bag, went in the back of Home Depot, sold about 60 cans of spray paint because this is before people used to sniff it, so they didn't keep it behind the glass at that time.
Okay.
Stole about 50 cans of spray paint and sprayed it up, painted up everything on the north side of St. John's, going towards North Lamar.
Okay.
I hit the elementary school, I hit the convenience stores. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I was interested in it, right? So what brought it full circle, I believe, was when Ready for the World came out. I remember that time, those times. And we would all meet up at Chuck's house. We would all meet up at Chuck's house.
Papa Chuck, by the way. He's talking about Papa Chuck.
Papa Chuck.
We'll get to that in a minute.
We'd all meet up at Chuck's house, and we just started writing rhymes, and it kind of brought everything full circle for me. Because
what was your experience in hip hop culture growing up? What was it like being in that early wave, or kind of like that first wave of people to really kind of practice the hip hop culture in Austin, Texas? What was that experience like for you?
It was extremely arduous. First of all, in order to have hip hop culture, you have to have black culture.
Right.
First, right? Because that's what it's born from. It's born from black music. It's born from Latino music. It's born from Jamaican music.
Right.
It's a mashup of culture, of different types of music forms that we didn't even have in Austin, right? So our only exposure to it in those very early days is what they would play on the radio, and that was extremely filtered. You see what I mean? So in the early days, you literally had our black culture, because it didn't exist. We literally dressed like cowboys back in those days. You know what I'm saying?
What years are we talking
We're
about?
talking about 82, 83.
Okay.
Right? Those days when like Rapper's Delight and all that stuff, we were not hip hop because there was no black culture. So we kind of borrowed from other cultures. I remember cats wearing roper boots and freaking cowboy hats with pins in them and all this kind of stuff, and it wasn't our culture. So it was very hard for us to establish a culture where there was no black culture to establish a hip hop culture in the first place. We would get little snippets here and there. You know what I'm saying? Little snippets here and there. I remember when they first played Apache on KNOW. The first time they played it on KNOW, and I heard it and I was like, what is that? I kept calling that radio station a million times. I never heard this before. And I agitated the hell out of the DJ that day because I had to hear it again and again and again and again. Then the tapes started floating into Austin. They were mostly West Coast influenced. The Dream Team,
Arabian Lover,
and
Egyptian Lover.
This is the time when me and Chuck are writing when we were first starting. That's the stuff that was out. Those were the influences that you had, that Austin had, and it was highly West Coast. It was dance music. It was the stuff.
It was like electro.
It was dance electro music stuff that Dr. Dre made before he became Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was hard to get into it for the older people, but for the younger folks, we just immediately gravitated to it.
So do you think that y'all kind of had, you, Chuck, Big G, Kwame, Cass?
Oh, you said Kwame.
I actually did work with Kwame.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
part of that Air Force connection you're
Yeah.
talking about.
All right.
But do you feel like y'all kind of had a hand in establishing that culture in Austin?
Yes, we did. But of course, I mean,
what are some of the things that y'all tried to, or did you have an idea of what you were establishing there? Where y'all
we didn't know what the hell we was doing. All we knew was that we was doing something that we loved to do, that we wanted to do, that we just loved it. We knew that was us. It's a difference. Some people don't, when you have that feeling that something belongs to you and you're just supposed to be doing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little boy riding a bike. You just know eventually I'm gonna break my arm, but you don't really give a damn. That's how we felt.
Yeah.
We just loved what it was, and we were going to do it and pursue it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because go ahead.
How did people react to y'all? Did y'all get a lot of love in the beginning, or were people kind of front on y'all like, what the hell you trying to do?
Whole lot of love. It was a lot of love. We would do little shows, of course, and everything. And, it was basically like amateur night at the Apollo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because people were trying to find their way.
Just everybody was trying to find their way, so you had people that was whack. Everybody was whack. I'm just gonna keep it 100.
Yeah.
Everybody was whack across the board, especially in those very, 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 very early days, because there were no. If you were on the East Coast of New York, it had already been established that what the rules are for hip hop and what the elements are for hip hop. We had the elements, but we didn't even know they were the freaking elements. It was just loosely put together. We had folks that we was in the lunchrooms beating on the tables, rapping like everybody else, but we didn't know what the hell we was doing. Yeah. We had pedigree rhymes like everybody else, but we couldn't put it together correctly. You know what I'm saying? So those early days, we was just having fun.
Yeah.
We was just more or less just having a whole lot of fun, and just battling each other in high school.
Yeah.
We just go back to 85, 86, 84.
All right, so in establishing early hip-hop culture in Austin, what were some of the obstacles you faced? I mean, besides the lack of culture, did you get any pushback from venues? Did people kind of not want y'all in there? Like, were there any obstacles?
No, there weren't, because we would throw hip-hop parties and there were no obstacles because there was no violence in it at that point, at that time, right? So we could go rent out a venue. We could go rent out a venue for $150, right? Didn't have to pay any insurance, just $150 on a huge auditorium, a huge room, and we could throw a party in there and make a lot of money, right? Because again, there was no violence associated with it. The pushback didn't come until the violent aspect of everything kind of entered into it. Then you would start getting pushback. We don't want you to come over to the Holiday Inn because of what happened at Embassy Suites up the street 3 weeks ago, and stuff like that. But other than that, there was no major pushback. The major pushback that I do remember is the pushback from radio censorship. You know what I'm saying? Radio censorship. Dealing with the Super Duper Trooper show, they really didn't want hip hop to really coexist with other black music forms. It wasn't considered acceptable, and so we got a lot of pushback there. But as far as like the other venues, like working the Austin Aqua Festival, all that, no, they.
Y'all played the Aqua Fest?
We did the Aqua Fest. We did all the downtown clubs.
Wow.
But we baked all of those. We did Liberty Lunch. It's so many of them. I mean, we would go to 6th Street. And we could literally hop from bar to bar.
Yeah.
Give them our music, and they would just let us on stage.
Wow.
We Catfish Station. I mean, anything that was down there at that time. I can't put my memory on it right now. It's so long ago. But yeah, we could literally go from bar to bar and put our stuff in and just play, and they would let us play. That's how it was back then. They were very accepting of hip hop. It was just our side wasn't accepting of it. You know what I'm saying? The older folks did not like what we were doing. You know what I'm saying? They did not like it, and because it did at one point have such negative connotations attached to it, that it was just only hard to play it over the air. But on the flip side of it, we was in the streets. We was playing every club. We was out there with the Coolie Girls. We was out there with Kaz and Project Crew and Chuck and Quince, Big G. All of us. We were playing clubs. We were playing hotels. We were playing everything. We even all got together and basically did a Texas chitlin circuit. We played Brown Rock, Pflugerville.
Damn. So how did you and Papa Chuck meet?
Through mutual friends in the neighborhood. We all grew up in the same little neighborhood back behind Doby Junior High School.
Okay.
All of us, my whole crew is from back behind Doby Junior High School. So Chuck was just one of the guys in the hood and everything. Matter of fact, Chuck's house was the house where we would meet up at to practice the fundamentals of hip hop. We would break dance at Chuck's house. We would rhyme at Chuck's house. Everybody, if it was anything related to hip hop, we was going over to Chuck's house and everything. Because we could, Chuck was there with his mom. He was there with his mom. And the living room the living room was empty. So we go over there and break dance all we wanted to, and Chuck had his room, and his mom's room was way across on the other side of the house, and she didn't care how much noise we made up. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why we would practice. That's why we honed all our skills was honed at Chuck's house. I believe that. So everybody has been through that.
So why did you and Chuck meet as opposed to maybe some of the other people that were?
Because the other guys were into just other things.
Okay.
They were just into other things.
So you and Chuck were the ones that were
were serious about rapping. We were serious about rap. So the other guys were friends and cool. We had a beatbox. Pardon me. We had a beatbox. We had all of that little good stuff. But we were just serious about rapping, and me and him just kind of clicked.
All right. So when did you stop doing music, and when did you and Chuck stop being a group?
Probably about the year 87, 88. Chuck got signed. Well, he didn't immediately get signed. I just wasn't practicing. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't practicing. I was getting ready to have my first son and everything. I was just preoccupied with other stuff. And Chuck was ready to move on with his rap career, which was cool. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to slow him down. And he moved on and I moved on. Still best of friends to this day. It's like my brother. And
I think that speaks really highly that you didn't feel some kind of way when he went out, because Chuck was finna be the AZ out called the Super Duper Trooper show. I was personally in junior high, not middle school. I was in junior high school. That's what we used to call it. I was in junior high school, and this came on from 2 to 4 in the morning, 3.
That show came on from 3 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday nights.
Okay. So I used to go to sleep like at my regular bedtime, because I was always fall off at 10. But I would set my alarm clock to wake up and make calls, texts to y'all's radio show. So tell me, Tell me what was the thinking behind that show? Were y'all intending to kind of bring underground hip hop and hip hop to us? Like, what was the purpose of the Super Duper Trooper Show? And why did y'all call it the Super Duper Trooper Show?
The reason we called it the Super Duper Trooper Show was, at the time, first of all, Troop Sneakers was out.
Okay.
And everybody was calling each other Trooper back then.
Okay.
Everybody was calling each other Trooper. And so there was a record out. I don't know what the record was called, but right in the middle of it, the dude who's rhyming just says, "The awesome Super Duper Trooper." And it just stuck. It stuck in my head. So when we did land the ability to get that show, we worked around names for a long time, and I told Rab, I said, why don't we just call it the Super Duper Trooper Show? And it stuck.
Okay, so tell us about Rab. You mentioned Rab, like we should know who Rab is. Tell us about Rab CNC.
Oh, Rab, that's my brother from another mother. I met Rab through Kaz.
Okay.
And Rab was just that real gritty New York cat, you know what I'm saying, who was into hip hop.
Okay.
And so, linking up with Rab, I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't learn from the folks that I'd hung around before. I learned about break beats. You know what I'm saying? I learned different stuff from him, and I learned really about hip hop, how to not just listen to hip hop, but how to live the lifestyle of being hip hop.
Okay.
Rab is my man. Rab took me to the yards when because he knew I loved graffiti. He took me to the yards in New York, underground. We were in the tunnels. Here I am, just a regular Texas cat.
Yeah.
We down in the subway tunnels, 1987.
Wow.
Going down there to go spray paint trains, literally.
That's ill.
Yeah, he took me down there, and I remember we were standing up. We were walking on the platforms, and a train was coming by, and Rab was like, "Get up against the wall."
Yeah.
Get up against the wall. I'm thinking slow.
Yeah.
Get up against the wall.
Yeah.
Train just come by. You can feel the wind from the train, because you're not supposed to be down there.
Not at all.
In the first place.
Yeah.
And the only things down there is work bums. They call them work bums. Because they work there, but they look like bums. Because they're in the trains, and all that dirt and stuff is getting on them and everything. But that's how I met him. That's my brother, but he would always tell me in the beginning, he would always tell me, man, you create your own environment, right? You create your environment. And so, in saying that, the Super Duper Trooper Show was put together because we were trying to create our own environment. We wanted to hear hip hop. That's what we wanted to hear. But there was no hip hop to be heard in Austin at that time. Not what we were playing. There was hip hop there. Yeah,
because I mean, you know, Jabari, the Bear, Warfield, one of my OGs would have something to say about that. But as far as the underground variety, which wasn't hip hop all underground at that time, pretty much?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had socially acceptable stuff, like Hammer, stuff like that. But you didn't have that gritty underground, or I even unsupported is the word I would rather use than underground. These are just unsupported groups that are expressing themselves differently than what's popular. That's easy. It's not easy to digest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You listen to certain albums. Method Man, I've been listening to that one a lot. The first one, the Chacal album. It's not easily digested by somebody who doesn't have an ear for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what the Super Duper Trooper Show was put there for, was so that we could show Austin and ourselves, because basically in a nutshell we was doing that show for ourselves. We really wasn't doing it for nobody else. We was doing it for Rab, and I was doing that show for us. We just didn't know nobody else was listening, to be quite honest with you. So we would just want to play records. We wanted to play records and be on the air and just play records. That's what it was. That's what it was. We wanted to play those records that we wanted to hear over the radio. It's just a real simple type of design.
what are you doing now as far as your involvement in hip hop, and how do you, I mean, as kind of one of those, I call us like, I'm probably like a third generation, you're probably more like a second generation hip hop or culturalist. What are you doing nowadays as an elder b-boy in the culture?
Well, what I'm doing now is refurbishing boxes. These have always been my passion. I just love them. So what I do is I find them and we rehab them, and then sometimes I sell them, but for the most part I keep them. I get attached, I'm sorry.
Okay, now that's special. My man rehabs boomboxes. Not the new joint that you got where you can put a doggone flash drive in it. This is real deal. You see the cassette come out, and this is a real one. And what model is this in particular?
This is a TRC 931 Masonic. Probably one of the most common ones that are out here that you will see. This is the boombox that they use at the beginning of the Fresh Prince. When the guys were sitting on the steps and they all got up. This is that one. Missy Elliott uses it a lot in her videos. Let me see what else. It's just the most popular one out of all of them when it comes to aesthetics. When it comes to aesthetic, when you think of boomboxes, this is what you're going to look that you're going to think about. This is what you're going to think about. We have a lot of different ones out here. The ones that are the most expensive and the most rare to find are going to be the Techniques, which are the big gray ones. If you can find one of them, holler at your boy, because I would like to take it off your hands for cheap.
How did you get into this? Like what? I mean, this is the first I've ever heard about this. Like I've never heard of like quote unquote we're gonna term this a boombox technician. How did you do that? Are you just good with technical shit or what?
I'm good with technical shit. I'm kind of a nerd, so I like doing technical shit. Plus, I love hip hop, and I love hip hop, and I love art. Which is why, like I told you in the beginning, it wasn't rap that drew me to hip hop. It was graffiti that drew me to hip hop.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this to me is the art piece, as far as I'm concerned. It's a beautiful piece of art. I have a lot of people that take them and make those big, huge. Oh, there's a restaurant out in Roswell where they actually took pictures of this one, blew them up, huge, and they're on the walls, and they're like 10 by 20.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So this, it's just out of not just only a love for our culture, but just a love for well put together antiques. It's an antique. It's considered an antique.
So my boy, his food done got here. You see him? He's tearing into the wings. He says the interview is damn near over. So we're gonna do the rundown of the shout outs of some of the earlier people in hip hop that I'm probably gonna forget names. So let's go.
First, I want to give a shout out to my partner, Big G, the Kingpin, his DJ Andre McKinney, Big Scar, Rab, of course, the Simply Raw Dancers, rest in peace, Chris Easley, Project Crew, let me see, Candy Fresh, and KB. I want to shout out to them. And KB, I think you got robbed because your version of You Got to Chill was just as good as EPMD's. They just had more exposure. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Claymore Ski, one of the best freaking bombers in the world, if you ask me. Very, very underrated dude.
Teddy Lee.
Papa Chuck, Teddy Lee. Just of course, my girl Cooley #1, Cooley #2, and Cooley #3.
What's up, Keisha?
They gonna always be my favorites.
What up, Dank?
Yeah. If I forgot anybody, I sincerely apologize.
Blame the age, people.
Yeah, but just blame it on the age because I don't even know how to work my iPhone. Y'all take it easy.
Word. So. This has been a little interview that I did with the OG, Quince 1. He's out here in Georgia, living his best life. I thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned to Quite Trill Worldwide.
Peace. Peace.